Hello, everybody, and welcome to All of It and More podcast episode 3. We are talking about adversity. Now, I'm going to focus more on my running and sharing that and the adversities that I have faced in running, but this could be applied to all of you, whether you're a runner or not. So we all are facing or have faced adversity in our lifetime, or we will, because that's life. There we go through hard things, or we have kids that we see them struggling through different things, whether it's in sports or their schoolwork. So today we're going to just talk about some practical things that can help us when we're facing adversity. So let's just kind of backtrack to where my love of running and my passion for coaching all began. And I just finished the Grand Canyon, hiking it and running it for the first time on Sunday. And if you want to talk about adversity, that was one of those days where, wow, that was like one of the hardest things I've ever done. And yes, I'm a big marathoner and I've done a lot of things, but hiking the Grand Canyon like that for time and going as hard as I could, my body would let me, was a lot. So we'll get more on that. But I have been running, since probably 12 years old. I went to a really small school, and it really wasn't, I don't know. I was born in 1985, and maybe Rhode Island wasn't big on having girls' sports or whatever. I remember our school offered volleyball, no soccer. It was volleyball, and then they introduced basketball. So it was really kind of limited. My parents did have me like at the YMCA, and I would lift weights, and that's where my love for fitness started at a really young age. I was really passionate about being fit. It got to an unhealthy point, but that's another story for another day. Another adversity story, that's for sure. But anyway, so running was a part of my life for a very long time, but never competitively. I only started really in college. I jumped in on some races just for fun. Hey, I'm going to do a 10K. Didn't really know what I was doing. And then when my husband and I got married, we moved to Michigan. It was really cold all the time, so I did a lot more treadmill just to stay in shape, 3 miles here every day or whatever. And then would run around our neighborhood. But really, when we moved to Indiana, I got, the biggest thing with running, if you are a runner, community is everything. So I saw a friend post in our neighborhood Facebook group, hey, I'm a runner. I'd like to get together with some ladies or people that would like to go running, and just kind of started running with this group of ladies, all from different backgrounds, ages. It was super fun, and I will cherish those days forever. And they were like, Amanda, you should do a half marathon. I'm like, what? So I like vividly remember my first 6 miles and being like so proud as we were training. And I mean, they've been runners for forever, but they didn't help me with like, oh, you need to have gels, because mile 9, I almost tanked so bad. But there's some adversity, and you don't know what you're going to expect in a race. That happens. And yes. So anyways, so that was my first half, was a really good time, 1:45, and loved it, and just kind of caught the bug. And I wanted to start we would do halves like every one in the fall and one in the spring. And the group I was with didn't really have any desire to do marathons anymore, but I really did. But then I found out I was pregnant. I got to my 16 miles training and found out I was pregnant. And then for some reason I thought I had to quit running, or not quit running, but quit training for the marathon. So I still kept running, kept going, and because I loved it, it kept me, like it just clears your mind. It just was, but I just kept going, and then had Gabby. And then I really had it, and my friend, I convinced her to train for our first marathon together, and that is where my first marathon I BQ'd. And I knew there was something here, and I just fell in love with it. I started like reading up on running and how to get better, how to get faster. I was like really passionate about this. I want to help others and kind of go through the same journey as me, and how can I help them? I've been strength training alongside, and I've been injury free. So that's kind of where my birth of run coaching came from. Like I loved it. And then we moved to Arizona, and there's so many more, I feel like, active people in Arizona because we can run all the time. Yes, we can run. If it's 100 degrees, 115, we get up early and it's still hot, but it's doable rather than living in Indiana when it's like negative 10, 20. There's no way you're going outside. There's not as many, you can't put enough layers on your body to be able to face negative 20. No. Anyways, but loved moving here. We've been here it's going to go on, I think 7. Crazy. Time flies. And yeah, so I did my first marathon was a 3:28, really good time for my first time. And then I trained for a Revel. I got a coach, and he trained me for a Revel fast downward. A downhill. I did not realize what I was signing myself up for a Revel course. I'm telling you, that trashed my quads. I'm like dying. So anyways, that was a 3:07, and then we talked about like maybe a sub 3, because as I was reading and like seeing what is what are some goals. Yeah, I just be cute. I'm gonna go to Boston in the spring. What are some other goals? And I really was thinking a sub 3 is on that list, because that's like sub elite. It's pretty awesome. I'm at 3:07, and then I ran a 3:04, 3:0 something at Mesa, and then was going to do like a 3:10 at Boston. But anyways, I just knew that was in the cards. So this whole podcast is about adversity. So you're looking at this trajectory like, oh wow, she's like PRing every race, and every race is perfect. And that's kind of what was in my head, and that I was almost like naive that everything was like, I'm putting in the work, so I'm going to have perfect races. I never expected adversity. I never expected it to not go my way. So my first taste of things not quote unquote going my way and facing adversity with my running was my first Boston experience, 2018. I don't know if any of you remember the news, but I grew up in New England, so Rhode Island, I know the weather. I know like in the morning it could be sunny, and then by the like afternoon it's like storming and disgusting outside. But that's what's crazy about New England. So Boston is in New England, obviously. So I get there with my friend who we BQ together. Remember, in Indiana, my first marathon. So she was with me, which is super special. And we see on the news there's a storm coming, and we could look at each other. And I think Boston literally lost its mind, because I couldn't find my gloves. So we went looking for gloves. This was Saturday to Sunday, because Monday is when the Boston Marathon is. They always have it on the Monday. And I couldn't find my gloves. So, everything was going wrong. I didn't even know what to wear. I was not planning. It's just, everything was ridiculous. So you go to the stores, everything's sold out. I had, at the start line of the Boston Marathon, garden gloves. I wore garden gloves the whole time I ran Boston Marathon, because that's the only pair of gloves I could find. And I wore a trash bag over me, a clear trash bag. It was just bizarre. And I remember standing next to this girl. She gave me her shirt, which was amazing, so kind. I don't even know her name. And I was just like, this sucks. Like, I was expecting so much more from this experience. And then I told my friend a week ago, the week before, she goes, okay, I'm making a playlist for you. That's when I actually listened to music while I raced. I don't do that anymore. But she's like, I go, well, I'm planning on a 3:10. My coach says 3:10. And I go, but plan for, like, just make music up to, like, 3:20. Like, 3 hours and 20 minutes. If I'm not done by then, something's wrong. I'm dead, or I'll be so mad. Whatever. So she gave me a playlist for the Boston Marathon for 3 hours and 20 minutes. I am running the Boston Marathon with that playlist, and it dies, obviously. But guess to the second of when I crossed that finish line. 3 hours and 20 minutes. It's crazy. I was like, there's no way, I am never going to run that slow of a marathon, but I've trained for this. But you never know what is going to be thrown at you, right? I had no idea a friggin' storm with sleet. I mean, coming over a hill, you think it's going to be, okay, I'm going to get a break. Nope. Head on, 20-mile-an-hour winds at your face. The Boston Marathon. All these expectations that all these people are going to be cheering us. No one was going to be out in that weather. It was really limited on people. And I just had that disappointment throughout. But then when you look back and when I crossed the finish line, I'm like, I did something so hard. This is once in a lifetime a marathon being this bad of weather. And to be able to do that with these people that I don't even know, but we're just going through a hard thing together and facing this adversity, I'm telling you, friends, it was really amazing. And I learned so much. And you think I would have learned a lot from that, but fast forward another 6 months, my first attempt at a sub 3. Oh, I had it in the bag, right? I had it in the bag. Yeah. So I trained all summer, CIM, and oh my gosh, my training was perfect. I'm telling you, I didn't miss one. That's how I am. I'm getting better in my old age, but almost like OCD. I will go to bed at 12 o'clock if I didn't get my miles in. So very committed, dedicated. Make sure everything goes perfect. The firstborn, having my daughter and seeing how the firstborn, how we are, I'm like, wow, it's okay to not be perfect. So anyways, my first attempt at sub 3, I knew I was going to do it. I knew it. And then it didn't happen. And I was devastated. That adversity, I still get goosebumps still. And almost mad at myself that I allowed myself to feel that devastated, that this is running, this is a part of my life, but this isn't who I am. But I guess it was. I guess I made it who I was. So I learned a lot. I learned to be one of my friend's husbands. He's like, Amanda, this is just running. And he was right. It is just running. Yes, we have our goals, and yes, we have this, but just like in anything that I do, my job, the gym I own, there's going to be adversity, and not every month is going to be this killer month in the business, and not every person's going to like me or want to be coached by me. Or this week, a parent, I know they don't like me, and that's fine. But, the old Amanda would be like, whoa, oh, this is devastating. But learning to be, okay, I'm going to face this challenge that's in front of me, and here we go. And so that, I learned a lot, and I think I know that CIM sub 3 goal that I didn't get the first time, I needed that. I needed it as a coach, as a mom, as a wife, as a business owner, teacher, so I can share with you all that it's okay to fail. It's okay to face adversity. Even when you face it, it doesn't go your way. It's how you face it. How are we going to crumble, or are we going to rise to the challenge and face and go after it again? And that's what I did for that spring. And I talked to my coach. I go, I know Mesa Marathon is right around the corner, but I feel like I can do this. Because not normally you do marathons back to back like that. I would never advise it as a coach. But he knew I had unfinished business, and I just dug deep, and that was to this day my PR. crazy. No, was it my PR? No. That was my 258, and the year after was February 2020, right before COVID. And that was my PR at Mesa, like a 254. And I'm on the journey to get anything under 254 would be awesome. But I feel like God is teaching me so much through these like it's not been easy, friends. You think, oh, well, now she got her sub 3. No, I think there's more here, but maybe not. Maybe like last year running Indy Marathon and the weather was terrible. I got a 3:01 or something. And then Mesa turned around and did a 2:59, the weather too. Like I've just been getting the crappiest weather. See my adversity. But I feel healthy in my mindset towards it. Even the Grand Canyon, the weather the night before was rainy and gross, and so we knew going down I forget how to say it, Kaibab or whatever. We went from south to north. We knew it wasn't going to go the way we wanted it to, because we're going to be safe and not try to fall over the cliff and try to go too fast. And all of this to say, you see everything on social media and everything looks so perfect and amazing and awesome, but you don't see all the adversity that your athletes, your coaches, your teachers, or whoever that are doing something. You don't see what they face and how they face it. So I'm going to give you like what's been helping me with everything, with facing adversity. So I'm not just like back to CIM, crumbling, crying, sobbing for days that I didn't get my sub 3. I think for me, it's setting realistic expectations. I am a mom of 3. Like, put yourself in like whatever you are in your journey. Are you full-time? You work full-time? So that's like, I own a business. I own Amp Fitness. I'm a mom of 3. I'm a wife. I have my 3 kids in different sports. It's crazy town here, and I want to try to run a sub 254 marathon. Yes, I want to try to do that in December, and I'm going to go for it. But realistically, am I going to be able to hit every pace or have everything go perfect for me in my training? No, it's not. That's my realistic expectation. I give all my clients, here's your A race, here's your B race, here's your C. Because we're not robots, friends. And when you take that pressure off, like, hey, I'm going to do my best, and regardless of the outcome, I know I gave my all with the expectation of where I'm at in my life, it takes that pressure off. It allows you to accept what comes in front of you. Like, okay, I was expecting some adversity, and here we go. It's pouring rain on race day. Okay, here we go. Let's go. It may not be the time I want, but I'm going to finish this. And that's number 2, like staying positive. So number 1, setting realistic expectations. 2, stay positive. Stay within the moment. I was telling my group of runners, we did a more mile, like testing how fast I can do a mile. And some of them were like, well, I didn't get the PR I wanted it was like 2 seconds off my PR from 10 years ago. And I was like, hold up, 10 years ago. Yes, maybe you're fitter than you were 10 years ago, but I mean, if you were 25 10 years ago, most likely, if you haven't had the training or you had training, that's a huge thing to be so close to a PR that you were in your 20s. You have to spin it and change it to the positivity rather than always looking at the negative in everything. Almost like, so when you see something that's not going the way you want, what can you learn from it? What can you learn from this race that's not going the way that you want it to go? Super helpful. Set realistic expectations, staying positive, and then break it down. Like, I have this big goal. I want to do a sub 250, but maybe it's going to take a couple more races, not just one. I think that was my problem with the sub 3. I was like, this is it. This is the big race. This is it. This is it. And I didn't realize that, I I need to break it down a little bit more, that it's going to be a process. I have a client that he wants to qualify for Boston, but he has a realistic expectation, and we're breaking it down that's going to take like 5 years. Be realistic in your goals and what you want to achieve. And that will help you stay the course and stay positive and stay with it, because you are setting those realistic expectations. You're staying positive, and you're breaking it down into smaller goals. Super helpful. And visualize your success. Number 4, visualize what that's going to look like. See that finish line. See what could be and what will be if you put in that time and the years and the work. It takes work, friends, to get that success. And just be smart. Use the mantras. Use what fuels you. What is it? Your kids? Is it you? Is it your goals? You're self-motivated, or your husband? Find something that inspires you, that when you're facing that adversity, it helps you conquer it and look past it, rather than, oh my word, I'm in this is awful. That's not staying positive. Look outside of where you're at and where it's going. And be that inspiration to others. Be an inspiration to others and help them. That's why I feel like I went through those adversities, because I can help you. And those of you that are listening to this podcast, this hopefully you can take to heart and be like, wow, I learned a lot from that. Oh, Amanda said she went through this. If I just told you everything has been perfect and my training has been amazing and I've had a PR every single race has been a PR, that's not inspirational to me. And it's crazy that I'm on the other side saying this, that wow, I really feel like the trials and the things that I've gone through, apart from running, have been to help other people. So use what you go through, use this to help others. And that is going to inspire you to keep going and face your adversity. Well, friends, I have talked a lot today. I hope you learned, or something from this podcast has been helpful to you, because we all are going to face adversity, whether it's in our running, whether it's in our life, our jobs, our work, our family. But you got this. You can do hard things, and you can face adversity healthily and with that drive that will get you to your goals. Okay, friends? Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time for episode 4. Thanks again. Bye, friends.